Thank you so much for joining us on another podcast episode of Meet You at the Top with your hosts, Magda Wolski and
Elphi Bolombo. Today we have an incredible artist, art gallery owner, and incredible visionary. We have Peter Triantos here today.
Thank you, Magda and Elphi, for having me here, and I'm honored.
yeah.
Absolutely. So Peter, we're going to get right into it.
All right.
So we want to know, what are one of your biggest influences when it comes to artists? Like, what inspires you when you're creating?
Inspiration is vast. It comes from everything, everyday life, an array of past and living artists. So it's vast, and it could be anything. A relationship, a wonderful moment with your spouse, with your love. So the art is inspired by, it could be inspired by a bird, a plant. So it's inspired by everything on this planet, truly.
So do you feel like creativity kind of lives within you? Or do you feel like somebody has to bring it out of themselves for those that are trying to be artists?
Great question there, Elphi. Does it live within you? If you're able to recognize it and be aware, I think then it rings a bell, ding, and you kind of see, wow, look at that color. That's an amazing color. Look at that bird. That's an amazing form. So I think, does it live within you? For sure. It would have to be ignited somehow with, usually it's love, something that you just go, wow, that's a beautiful sunset. Look at that beach. My hair is standing up. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think.
So would you say then, to be an artist, is it something you're born with or something that's developed?
That's a question that I've been asked many times, and I still don't have. I really believe that you are not born with it. I think that you hone it throughout the years, but you became aware of it somehow. So when you paid you had tremendous interest, and it just starts to compound and grow from there. So I think that's what it is. But you have to have a love affair, like with anything you like, sports, whatever it is, yoga, anything, guitar, whatever you do, sell real estate.
Yeah.
You have to have you can't just do something for money.
Yes.
If I'm going to be a doctor, then I'm going to be a doctor because I really want to help people, and that's the Hippocratic Oath, what it was about. If it's about just money, then that's the wrong reason to be involved in anything. Money plays a role. It's an important role, and it's a payback to what you put in.
I would say too, I feel like a lot of people, especially in their 20s as they're growing up, they're trying to figure out what their purpose is.
Yeah.
So how did you find what your purpose truly was? And at what point did it click for you?
Yeah, that's another great question. I mean, what is your purpose? Your purpose is to enjoy the journey. That's your purpose. That's your main purpose.
Yeah.
To enjoy the journey. Unfortunately, we cannot, because we're too busy chasing a future endeavor or whatever, finishing an end point. And that's the problem about reaching for an end point. You gotta have a plan. The end is the end. It should never be an end point. It should be just living the day, and that's something that people struggle to realize, that living for today, and enjoying every moment of it. That's a very difficult thing because we're always chasing. I don't know if I answered that question.
What about,
or somehow I flew around it.
So what about, because we like to keep it real on our podcast.
Yes.
When you're chasing your dreams, a lot of people are broke during that time. Yeah. So is there any tips that you would give to people who are, they're not where they want to be financially, but they want to chase that dream? They know that it's going to happen, and they're just trying to get some type of motivation to push through the hard times.
Right.
Yeah, financially, that's a hard question. I think it's all a scam. Financially, there's independence. If there was, then people wouldn't be going broke. Hollywood celebrities,
right.
People wouldn't be claiming bankruptcy. Great singers,
yeah.
Good point.
So that's something that people are broke when they're starting. Yes, but be creative. I mean, it's a difficult thing. Money is a difficult. All artisans are great businessmen to some extent, and they can create money out of anything.
Amen.
Right? Yeah. So, but is there any freedom? I'll say this: the bigger you get, the more you're gonna take, and you can only, you'll make bigger moves. It's never that anybody is content, and contentment is something that maybe we all got to look more to, right?
Yeah.
To be content with what you have, because when was the last day that you kind of just sat in a park and looked at a blade of grass or a butterfly floating around or a snowflake falling from the sky,
right,
and just enjoying the moment? It's very rare because we're just chasing.
Yeah, especially with our cell phones.
Yeah, there you go.
There
you go. Like cell phone's a good example, because you could be on a beach and you're looking at a better beach on Instagram or whatever, so you're not living in that space in the moment. So it's very tricky. I mean, money has to be secondary.
Right.
It has to be, right?
Have you ever been in a position where you're like, you feel like you've attracted money into your life? I don't know if you view money as energy, but do you feel like it's possible? I believe in this, but do you feel like it's possible to be in a tough situation and then
attract money?
Yeah.
I don't think money has that kind of power to. You might attract people with money. Is that like you? I don't think.
Like, let's say, for example, you're like, I'm going into this. I know that this has to work or else I can't pay my bills, for example.
Yeah, but, I think that, attracting money, I think that artisans, like I said, are businessmen. They will build something and it's like, let's spill some milk, see if the cat licks it up mentality. So they build something and they kind of know a bit that it probably will, but they're uncertain. It's a risk. But
100%.
So like, I used to make series that are quick and in order to pay bills, yes. So the faster that you can produce them, people ask me, how long does it take you to make a painting? I say 61 years. And it takes a while to it's not the time.
Yeah.
It takes a lifetime to kind of paint in a certain way or to, that's why they have retrospectives on artists. I think that, you got to focus on your craft. If you build something great, obviously there's a market for it. And that's what trying to focus on building something instead of jumping and trying a million things and saying, this doesn't work, well, this doesn't work, well, you never gave anything a real chance.
Right.
It takes time to build clientele. I think people think they look for immediate gratification and they need it all the time. It's a little bit difficult in today's world, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you think of many great artists from the past, Van Gogh, there's a lot of artists that haven't made money actually until after their death.
Yes, but a lot of them did, and
absolutely,
a lot of them did, and Rembrandt went bankrupt in 1650
That's right.
or 1660, having tremendous wealth.
Yes.
And then going bankrupt, overspending, and I see that in my life many times, and I try to learn from the past because we love everything. You can't have everything.
Right.
You have to draw the line. I mean, there's so many great things that come up to offered to you every day. And a little bit of focus is good.
Of course.
I mean, it's good to dream, but you try to. That's why I have my wife who kind of pulls down the balloons.
Yes.
Because the balloons will just take off with helium.
Yeah.
Right?
Speaking of your beautiful wife,
yes.
I think a lot of people, they want to find that partner. They want to find that person who makes them wake up in the morning and makes their life filled with purpose.
Yes.
What helped you find your, partner that you're so inspired by it. I love all your posts about your wife. It's so beautiful to see. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is what we need more of. Wow. Men appreciating their women.
Well, I'm not perfect. I mean, I feel bad for Serafina sometimes. She's married to an artist, and it's all about me, and she's very strong. You got to be a very strong person to be able to kind of handle that.
Right.
I saw Serafina, and I just fell in love with her. So I went up to her 5 times.
Love at first sight?
Yeah, I'm going to say love at first sight. It was an energy that I wanted to get to know and to be friends with. And I went up to her several times. In that one day, I ended up giving her my number. She didn't call me. We ran into each other on the street. And kind of, at the end, I saw her a few times. I kind of was sitting there having some sushi on a patio. And I kind of hid. I said, oh, my God. And she ended up calling me. And she absolutely caused my career to blossom.
Wow.
To just like a volcano erupt. And because everything I did, she was like, wow. And she loved everything. So I was like, wow, that's. I said, I'm going to paint another one. I'm going to make another one. I was already prolific, but I was stagnating and looking to create that masterpiece.
Right.
And Serafina was the missing piece.
That's
you need
beautiful.
every person, not great, whatever. If you reach greatness, then you reached it with somebody.
Yeah.
Rarely do you reach it alone and a recluse. It's the connections you make and the great people in your life. And Serafina.
So basically, man, make sure you find a good woman.
Yes, the same. You need a great partner. You need backing. If you don't have somebody that has your back, and it's not easy,
right?
Then you're really gonna struggle, and you're gonna it'll show up somewhere else in your life.
For sure.
You need somebody with great guidance, and sometimes Serafina, I see like a 15th century philosopher behind her, and I'm lost and I want to give up, and I say something and she says, well, proverb or something like that, an old saying, and I go,
a proper woman.
Yeah, so I don't know, it's just very, very wise, and help me through this. The bottom line is, why am I doing art? Is to help. As an older person, I want to make sure that the young generation sees that if I can make it, anybody could.
Yes.
And make it in a way where you're showing your work. That's the reason I got into this, because I tried to show my work into a gallery once, and I got so nervous. And the owner was like, how did you get in here? I was like, so I never wanted to go through that again. So quickly I opened my own gallery and started sneaking my stuff in.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I love that. You create your own opportunities when doors are closed.
Yes.
How do you juggle?
They weren't necessarily closed. I had the I'm just saying they were difficult to open.
Right.
So, and then a type of rejection, or hard to even communicate with some dealers because they're maybe callous. They dealt with so many artists.
True.
So I said, you know what? How can I make a platform, a place where people, and there you go. That's why Instagram today and social media is so important.
Right.
And creating a lot of tremendous musicians, artists, models, because they don't need anybody to kind of be an agent for them.
That's right.
They can put it out there themselves.
Right. Now, how do you juggle, your work being an artist with your personal life? Like, how do you find the time to make time for your wife and for travel?
Yeah.
You're a
busy
busy
man. One and the
same.
The thing is this, they're absolutely one and the same. I hate to say it.
I love that.
There's not a mix. I mean, if you got to go on vacation to get away from your life, then get a new career.
I love that.
It is one and the same.
That.
You live in your life. Like I go to work, which, I run there. There's days where sure I'm down and I'm trying to, it's all problem solving.
Right.
It really is. I mean, there's an answer for everything.
Yeah.
Dig deep, man, because some of these answers are very hard to find. So dig deep and, give it some time. Look at yourself from the outside. See what you're doing wrong. Try to have a moment. I say that like I do it, but I don't because I'm just going full blast. But trying to always keep that in mind, right?
Yeah, I love that you mentioned the problem solving, because when things happen, people panic and they go crazy. Yeah. Like this morning, somebody broke into my car.
Oh my God!
And instead of me being like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" I was like, it's okay. I'll just take another car. Like, it's all good, Yeah. So problem solving, I really love that. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
That's sorry to hear that about your car.
Yeah, no worries.
I hope you didn't leave anything in the open, and that's what I kind of always say. Here's what it is. If you need something, then ask.
Right.
It's too 100%. Late when you don't ask, and somebody says, "Well, I could help you." Have the courage to ask people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I have clients that come up to me and say, they're always afraid to invest, but people need to invest in people. Right. Invest in their visions. Why do you need to go to I'm going to go and put my money in this specialist? There's no such thing. Invest in people. Right. Yeah. Because that specialist is going to rip you off. You got to invest in people. You got to take that opportunity to get to know the person and say, you know what? Hey, man, I'm going to be a person that invests in this guy because I believe, and I'm listening to what he's saying. Give him an opportunity. That's what people need to do.
I love that. Absolutely, 100%.
I think there should be more of that. People are afraid. They're going to brokers. They're going to, he's a type of guy that handles my money. Put it in an artisan, a musician, something that help that. Become a patron to people. Support people. Throughout my life, I've never had money, but I purchased pieces from other artists. I tried to help as much as I can. Sure, it's going to cause you a little bit of trouble, and financials never solves. Money's always, there's a shortage of it.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so important, that there's not enough of it. That's why we're all chasing it.
Right.
But try to help one another. And, don't burn bridges. As a young person, I've made mistakes in the past. You can get hot-headed sometimes and burn a bridge. No matter what happens, try to keep a cooler head and
keep it civil.
Yeah, keep it civil. Things are going to happen that aren't always perfect, right?
Right.
I showed in New York many times with different dealers, big dealers, and things didn't go perfect.
Right.
And you're shocked because you don't expect that. But they're just people, and they'll do things that, are unexpected. So,
yeah.
It's easy to react in oh my God, why is this happening? Look at the whole situation and work with it, and don't burn bridges. If something is not really working, try to avoid working with those people, but don't burn the bridge.
Yeah.
I always say, maybe I'll revisit it later on.
Right. That's great advice.
Here I am giving advice like that. You know what I mean? I'm still learning every day.
Yeah,
you got to keep learning every day. You cannot be rigid, stuck in your, you don't want to be in 10 years later. If you were to ask me, I don't want to be doing what I'm doing today. I want to be experimenting. I don't want to be creating the same works. I want to keep moving. And you know what? I'm not, the artist that paints the same thing.
Right.
We don't eat the same thing every day. Why paint the same thing every day? So you need to kind of just keep moving and not have any fixation or rigidity. And sometimes fame can destroy an artist or a musician because they're always looking back to that one moment where they got that huge fame, right?
Right.
I kind of fear fame, so I've always been trying to kind of
avoid it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. So what's one thing that you dislike about the art world then? You talk about, so
control.
many great things. Control.
Ooh,
control.
Good answer.
Nobody controls it. Don't try to be the authority on the art world because you don't control it. There's big corporations that kind of lay the claim that they are the so-called authority. I can say that art has to be accessible to everybody here. It's not only for the elite, and that's what the Peter Triantos Art Gallery is instrumental in helping people acquire works, and we'll do almost whatever it takes to make sure that they get a piece, and whether it's their deferred payments or we're going to help. And, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, no,
yeah, amazing. So one of the things that I learned about you just from doing my research is, you know, you immigrated to Canada.
Yes.
So we all have that in common.
Amazing.
As a new immigrant,
And
you know,
we're lucky. Yeah, we're very lucky, believe
blessed.
it or not.
Not
Yes,
lucky, blessed.
Yes.
But one of the things that I could say as an immigrant, it's really hard to get, you know, integrated into a new society. What would you say are some of the crucial moments in your journey immigrating to Canada and getting accustomed to, you know, this world in your art journey? Like any crucial moments that kind of shaped who you are as a person today?
The thing is this, want to make sure that you let the world know that you're just not an immigrant.
Right.
You're a human being.
That's right.
So I have this stupid saying that by the time it's all said and done, I want to put a dagger in Canadian art history.
Amazing.
And say, this immigrant is going here. It's not one person that's going to put you in the history books. You put yourself in whatever position that. So I don't believe it's going to be one person. Fight your way till you get your way, and you make sure that no one. It's going to be times where you're going to say, "I'm out."
Right.
But you got to find that.
Yeah.
You
better get back in.
Yeah.
You're gonna say it. You're gonna question, what am I doing? Is it worth it? What maybe I could be doing something else. But the passion will override that, and you'll continue. I think, to be an immigrant here, we all have one big thing we want to prove, that we're more, and we are. We're human beings.
Right.
Immigrant is just a name. It shouldn't even be. Should be granted citizenship right off the bat.
Right.
As soon as you come in, boom, there's your paper. You don't want to feel like you don't belong anywhere.
Yeah.
You're sitting around waiting for a piece of paper to tell you that you belong. Immediate citizenship. So if I was the prime minister, once you get in here, here you go. Welcome to this country and good for you. I landed in Halifax in 1966, long time ago.
Wow.
It feels like another world. But they gave me a bag, a toothbrush, a comb, and a silver dollar. I ate the toothpaste because I had never seen a candy in my life. So that's the truth of it, right? So, I want to tell you, it's been a journey for me. But I got to say, looking back, that my parents sacrificed a tremendous amount for me to have seen all this beautiful, come from a meager place, agriculturists, farmers, and to have experienced great old master paintings in my collection, like all this beautiful color and all that. Man, I wasn't always able to realize what my parents' struggles were and why they were done for me. It takes a while for a kid to understand just what they went through. And that's the problem. A lot of parents sacrifice everything for their kids. I don't agree with that because you got to live too.
Yeah.
And, they live too, but you live a little bit more. Inheritance is not something guaranteed. Ooh. It's not a given. Ooh. You either get it, you deserve it or not. You're waiting for somebody to pass away so you can collect it. I don't agree with that. Getting off topic. But, you know what I mean? Like, they did enough for you.
For sure.
Yeah.
No money goes to you. They spend it all. I'm happy with that. Make your own.
Right.
I like that mentality.
Right.
Love that.
Don't tell that to your future kids.
No, you give. You give with all your heart. But you don't expect.
Right.
Of course.
Right.
Create. They gave you already
life.
They built a place for you, and they gave you all the tools.
Yeah, the roadmap to
right?
success.
I know it sounds harsh, but if you gave somebody all the tools, then they should be able to put them to work and create, right?
Absolutely.
Instead of, I know many parents that everything is done for the kids, everything.
Yeah.
And you're not living any longer. You could see it.
Yeah.
They're not... You have to live.
Yeah.
What about you?
Right.
The inner child in you. Why don't you go out? Why don't you try some hobbies? Do something. It can't be all for another person. Same like a relationship. I'm waiting for my wife. I want to do, at home she's going to say, listen, why don't you get a hobby? Get away from me. Like, you can't just be doing everything. And the same goes on the other side of the spectrum.
No,
you can't
absolutely.
neglect, right?
Yeah, fair point. Well, kind of shifting it back to your art and how you actually create, because, I mean, we're in your gallery. You have so many beautiful paintings with different styles. What's the process of creating? Like, do you feel an emotion and you're like, yes, I have an idea of what I want to paint?
I don't paint every day. And, I don't think you need to paint every day, but you paint every day in your mind. You're seeing colors, that concrete, whatever it is, that shell, that bird, the sky. Look at that silvery blue sky. So I'm painting every day. And then when the time comes, it's like, boom.
Right.
You don't want to be forcing, it's like forcing a meal to serve it uncooked or whatever is not prepared. And you're just serving it. It's not ready.
Right.
I think, these are explosions of energy. Like sometimes, they say, man, make sure you don't give Peter money. Keep him starving. He paints the best when he's really angry or upset or struggling.
People say that?
Yeah, people say that.
Tell me more.
Some of my collectors. So the thing is, I used to look at that and say, what are you talking about? If you give me some money, maybe I can paint properly. You know what I mean? But the thing is, if somebody gave me 5 million, 10 million, whatever it is, I'm going to go on a beach. So there's a problem there. Artists need to use their tool.
Right.
What they're given to create income. And
that's right.
That's what it is. It's a, is it a God-given talent? In a way, you're using what you're good at. And recognize what you're good at. I have issues where, I'm doing drywall. When I can hire somebody to do the drywall and paint a painting that I can sell for way more.
Right.
But I get involved in everything, and that's a problem. Find out what you're good at and do a lot of that.
Right.
Right?
That's a great tip.
Don't try to do everything, which sometimes we do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When you think back and you look to where you are now, did you always envision this for yourself? Like you knew, like one day I'm gonna have an art gallery, and you saw it in your mind?
1 million%.
Oh my God!
Every lunatic that takes it to that level, like deep down, like I'll be honest with you, I left construction at late in my life, and I still do it. But I wasn't painting for 10 years. But in the back pocket, I had that card. And I pulled it out one day. I am an artist.
Yeah.
Yes.
You gotta have that. So I knew at maybe grade 5, grade 6.
Wow.
I knew that. I'm gonna sound arrogant here saying that. I knew that I had the power to be the greatest. Although I haven't achieved it, I had the power. I could see that I could take something from here and transform it through my brush.
Right. Wow.
And I was a good pitcher at school, right?
Yeah.
A teacher came up to me and said, because I can take that ball and put it in that spot. I can almost, how would you say it? Take the thought and transfer it.
Yeah.
That's why you got to have that vision.
Yeah,
so if
beautiful.
you don't have the vision, you got a blank. What am I going to do? Oh, geez, I got to ask a psychologist. Well, then you're in trouble. Yeah. And that's one thing, like, a real estate can only guide you so much, an agent.
Right.
And if you don't know what you want,
you're going to be looking at houses forever. Making my job harder.
By the way, real estate agents love me, although I don't use them a lot in a way because I go and buy. But I walk into a house, boom, I didn't even look at it. I saw the picture. So, this guy's out of his mind or he knows something.
Right.
Yeah, I know what I want. That's what it is. You got to know what you want.
Right.
How are you going to get it? When I saw my wife Serafina in that coffee shop, I went like this. I left my friend there and I went. I was older. I went right away. I said, let me let her know who I am. I don't want her. She doesn't know who I am. She could think, oh, this guy's a whoever, whatever. But and I'm a human being. I want you to know who I am. Sense of humor. I'm an artist. Blah blah blah. And finally, you get to know. People don't know who you are. You want to go sit at home and wait for a relationship to come and get you?
Right.
It's not going to happen.
That's right.
Make an attempt to go out. You have a responsibility to, you want to be happy and go for it.
You got to create your own happiness. Yes.
as people. You know, it's hard to pick up the phone and say, hey, listen, I know you want to, you know, you were talking about investing, you know, maybe you start talking about that. It's going to be hard. You might say, well, no, I got to, but at least you tried.
Right.
And guess what? If you ring that bell or knock on that door 10 times, somebody's going to answer. The thing is, if you quit after the first time, say, oh, I'm never going to do that again, good for you, because you're finished right there. Right there, you quit.
Right.
You have to keep doing it. And that's why they teach people selling insurance, knock on those doors, right? You know, I got my mortgage license at 50 or something years old, 58. I wanted to know why I was getting ripped off with mortgages. I realized quickly that it's a huge, it's a trade.
Yes.
There's a system in place. If you want to be unconventional buyer, then go to private lending.
Right.
So, you know, look, I don't want you guys to think that I'm saying this like I know everything. These are just things that I kind of picked up in my life that can make somebody's life easier.
Right. 100%.
And I wish somebody had told me, or maybe I wasn't even listening, but people don't want to reach out. You have a responsibility as an older person. I'm 61 years old. Why not tell the truth instead of hiding and let somebody know what is it going to take? What kind of paint do you use, Peter? But you have connections. I use the kind of paint that I buy that a magic person comes out and paints for you. That's what I use. You know, you have to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, you know, make some paintings, make some art, and you have something that you can sell.
For sure.
Right?
Now, I've always been curious about this. How do you know that a painting is done? Like, it's a blank canvas. You can probably paint on it all week, all month, right? How do you know it's a finished product?
I'm going to say something, get in big trouble here. You know, like
you have to say it now.
Yeah, no, it's like, how do you know you finished dating?
Because I'm full.
There you go. You know, how do you
I
know
thought
you
he said
finished
dating for a second.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, how do you know you finished making love? You're finished. You know, you gotta, so it's the same. It is the same.
Yeah.
You know,
you just know.
When you're done. Like, you want to keep working at that, you know, get away from the buffet. It's over. I mean, like, you know, you can only ruin a great meal.
That's amazing.
You know, you don't want to sit there going, oh my God, what did I do?
Right.
So I hope that's not a stupid answer. And it's never finished.
Right.
Always leave room for more. Like, my paintings are never finished. I believe that if they're finished, they're done. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. What's the best piece of advice you've received or wish you knew about growing your business?
None. I take all advice from people, and I look at it seriously, but nobody ever gave me great advice that, you know, that was the thing. Ding, okay, there, make a $1 million. I put everything together.
Yeah.
And what works for me might not work for you.
Right.
So the advice, you have to listen to people, but don't necessarily take every bit of advice thrown to you, or else you're going to be scrambling around. I do this, I do. You know, I opened my studio the first day. I brought a very wealthy client friend of mine. He saw my studio, and I said, what do you think? And he said, take your deposit and run. That's what he told.
Oh my God.
And it was like I felt something just come up my chest, and I said, I pressed the button in my head saying erase that thought immediately.
I love that. Erase it.
Because guess what? This guy threw a thunderbolt right into my chest. And thank the Lord at that point that I had enough courage to erase that. Because imagine, I'm going there telling the guy I need to keep my deposit, I'm out.
Right. Wow.
It was hardship. It's hardship. But if you want to quit, then you can quit at everything.
Yeah.
You can quit on a relationship because the grass is greener on the other side.
Sure.
Yeah.
Relationships aren't easy. Make sure that you understand that. If you're laughing every day, you're going to be in the circus. There has to be laugh side. Everything is, night, day. It has to have a balance.
Right. That's perfect.
I love that you said to erase that, because it's so pivotal. And like when things happen, it's like, if it's what you believe, just block it out. It never happened. You never said that, and just keep going.
Who knows what's better for you than yourself?
Amen.
Right.
If you need to come to me, and I can give you advice, but I really don't know you. I could be pushing you into the wrong direction. You asked me about a relationship, and I don't know you, and I'm telling you, you know what I mean? It's sour milk. Why are you putting it in the fridge? It's the same thing tomorrow. Like, I don't know your relationship. I don't. So you have to understand that you know what's best for your life. And the moment that you start to become, like, how would you say it? Once you believe in yourself, you become stronger.
Yeah, amen. I believe in that 100%.
You know, like, nobody can push you down and say, hey, listen, man, you're not a great artist. So what? Big deal. So I'm still going to do it. So the greatest artists aren't the ones with the most talent. It's the ones that pursue, but usually it's the guys that are authentic. They're different, but they have so much drive. They might not be the best talented artists. Even hockey players, but, you know, talent is not everything.
Right.
It's your character. There's only one you. And that's a beautiful mix. And when you try to be somebody else, you're negating yourself.
Right.
You know, how would I say? You have to let you come out.
Right.
It's very difficult. And you could be a mix of everything that you love. But, you know, can't be just one, you're a copyist.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So we have one more question for you before we get into our sip or spill game.
Answering these by every question I'm answering is like a 2.5 hour story.
So we know that you've done paintings for tons of developers, celebrities, tons of amazing people. But since we're in Toronto, you know, I do have to ask about Champagne Papi. So how was it like doing a painting for Drake?
Well, we actually painted for the Drake show. So I never sold the painting to Drake, but we did a private show at Chateau Le Jardin. We sold all the works, and unfortunately, I never met Drake. You know, I met a lot of other celebrities, but we saw the Drake show, and I'll tell you something about Drake. I wasn't really a huge fan, and I saw him live, and he came late. And he came out, he was wearing all black. And he said, really, really struck a chord with me. He said, you know, he was having a showdown on Jarvis or Gerard, and somebody came up to him and said, listen, let me talk to you after the show. And he said to him, I don't think music is your forte. You may want to look somewhere else to a better career. And he said that. And you see, he never gave up.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though somebody told him that. And he said that night. And that really resonates with me. He had tremendous belief. And I really started liking Drake as a person right away, even though I wasn't well aware of his music. I heard his music everywhere, but I didn't know who he was. And then I said, that's why Drake is a likable person.
Yes.
He's telling the truth about his life. He's a beautiful person.
Yeah.
He's telling you what happened to him. And he's passing the torch on to others. Because it wasn't always easy. No matter where he came from, he was a star or whatever, he still pushed hard.
Right.
Right? And he believed in himself.
For sure.
So, amazing.
I mean, a lot of stars, you know, don't.
Sorry, I let you guys down. I didn't sell a piece to Drake, but I sold to a lot of other great people. But I saw the show live, private show.
No, when you do, you can thank us.
Yeah, I'm not. You know what? The thing is this. I'm not gonna chase anything like that. I like. You know, I met Nicole Scherwinger.
Yeah.
I was talking to her for a long time. I really didn't know who she was. I was saying she's a beautiful person. And I met many celebrities, and you know, you want to talk to them as one-on-one. It's almost better that you don't know who they are.
Of course.
Right.
The moment that you know who you are, you know, when finally Nicole, I realized who she was. I was like.
You start getting nervous, you start sweating.
Palms are sweaty.
You know,
throwing up.
Yeah, you know, it's a total different thing. So, you know, you want people to look at you not as a guy saying, "Oh yeah, please,
right,
buy my work." You know, if they can treat you as one, they'll respect you more.
Right.
When you're asking for something, is not my thing.
100%. I absolutely agree. Thank you so much, Peter, for answering those questions.
I'm honored. I hope.
Well, before we have a little bit of a quick game with you as well.
Okay.
It's called Sip or Spill.
All right.
So we'll be asking you some questions, and
I'm scared.
I know.
If you're scared, you can just take one of those mystery liquids.
There's 3
you don't want to answer.
shots in front of you. completely non-alcoholic for you. And
That
yeah,
means-
if you
that
want to
means
pass on a
completely
question,
alcoholic.
soap and water. No, I'm kidding. So, okay. The first question that we have is, are you afraid of certain subjects, styles, or media in terms of art?
No, I would like to embrace my fears, except for jumping out of a plane. I'm not doing that. They asked me to do that. It's not happening.
Not a heights guy.
No, I worked in heights, but I'm not jumping out of a plane anytime soon.
So what's one of the wildest things you've done to chase your dreams, if any?
Oh, yeah. I went into a show in New York, first time showing in a exhibit with other artists, never had been, and I went there with no money. Mm-hmm. So, I bought the booth. I didn't have any money to. I put some money down, but it was like $18,000 US.
Wow.
And I went there and I said, I have some money in a Swiss account. I'm just switching it over. I went into the booth. I hung my art, and then I don't even know why I did that. And I sold a piece. So I believed in myself and I paid the bill. It was something that is so risky. To fly into New York, not have money for the booth, but count on your art. I could have failed. What happens if I didn't sell a piece? But that never crossed my mind. Maybe I was stupid enough to believe that. And I went all the way to Brooklyn, where I hung the painting for the people, and they asked me, why do you want me to have this work? And, I telling the truth, because I need to pay for my booth.
Right.
Like, no. I told them, I want you to have it because I think it's an important piece. Sometimes you have to risk at all costs and put yourself in danger. I don't know. But maybe that sounds too harsh, but I did it. And I did it not once, twice, many times. So
amazing.
Yeah. So...
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend it to everybody.
I love that.
You can strike that from there.
Sink or swim. Okay, so do you think that art should ever be censored or banned? It's a hard one.
Well, that's difficult because it depends where it's shown. If it's shown in the middle of a kid's hockey game on television, and you're having a commercial, which is art, then you got to watch. But censoring is never good.
Right.
Right? But you got to also watch if it's in a sports or something that is drawing in, watch what you're doing because you're advertising. And that could be kind of dangerous. If you're selling it, there's a fine line.
Right.
Shouldn't be censored, but
cater to the
exploit.
audience. Yes, absolutely.
Right? Not to exploit.
That's amazing.
One last one.
Yeah. So, what is the most expensive painting you have sold, and how do you price your paintings?
So, I price my paintings on demand, but I can put any price I want.
Yes.
I'm not asking anybody to purchase it. If I feel a painting's worth $1 million, then and I'll ask $1 million. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no rules. It's not like a diamond or a car. There's no rules. I sold paintings well over $100,000. I'm not going to get into details, but
right.
You shouldn't feel like I sometimes feel guilty that I can't even afford my own art pieces anymore. Like I'm surprised at the way they're selling. And what people are paying, I do feel sometimes guilty, and you got to stop feeling you deserve.
Right.
People want your work, and they're paying 20, 30, 40,000. And you feel like, oh, maybe I'm going to try to help out. My wife tells me to stay away because I'm only hurting myself.
Right.
Like I got overhead. I pay for everything. So, and we donate millions of dollars a year.
Beautiful.
All over. So, you got to make sure that you take care of yourself. And you got to get paid for your work.
Right.
So I kind of like the art world because there's no rules.
Limitations.
And I don't like rules. Like music has chords, it has structure. Art doesn't. Art doesn't. I can take a footprint, put it on a canvas, and sell it. If it hits me, that's my footprint.
What a life.
Right?
He wants to be an artist now.
Yeah. So no, but it you know, there's great artists throughout history, like Piero Manzoni. He blew into a balloon. You're buying the artist's breath. I mean, that's brilliant. 1950s.
Very cool.
You know, he did stuff that is way, and people are like, oh, I'm not going to pay for that. Well, you're buying a piece of the artist.
Right.
In reality, when you're buying one of my paintings, you're buying a piece of me.
Yeah.
That's just a piece of me. It's just a piece of me in that moment. You know, if you want to compare them all, this is better, that's better. There's still a piece of me. Right? So,
yeah.
I think it's
amazing. So where can viewers and listeners find your art and find out more about you? Where do they go to access?
21 Avenue Road.
Okay.
PeterTriantos.com and at Peter Triantos for Instagram. I would suggest you visit the Avenue Road, and then there's my studio, but that's not open to the public, so you would have to kind of go through the gallery, and you could book an appointment to see me there, right?
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for having us,
It's
Peter.
been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your
guys.
time.
Thank
It's
you.
Meet You at the Top podcast. We'll see you there.
Meet you at the top, yeah. Magda and Elphi on lock, yeah. And they ain't never gonna stop, yeah. Said they gon' meet you at the top.